Hi there, my name's Phil from 2020 Sounds. Thank you for clicking on our channel. This is the third part in a 4-part series detailing how I started my business. In part 1, I describe my love affair of music. In part 2, I discuss how I started my DJ business. The third part, I will go through how when you lose drive and passion and confidence in what you do, your business will quickly dissipate, and it certainly did for me. And in the last part, the 4th part, I will discuss what lessons I've learned along the way in my 11-year journey. So to pick up from where I left off in part 2, I was doing really well. As I say, the business started in 2009. I'd got through my first booking, which was awful, and I got through my first wedding, which I was very nervous about. And then after that, I started to pick up bookings all the time. I was going to loads and loads of wedding fairs. I was picking up more and more work for recommendations, and the business was doing really well. And from the outside in, it would certainly appear that I had a very successful business, and I'd started something from just an idea. I was obviously incredibly proud of that, but behind the scenes and me personally, things weren't going very well at all. Now, obviously, as I say, bookings were coming in every weekend, so by rights, the business was doing really well, and as I say, I was really proud of that. But the business wasn't on a solid foundation. Me personally, having had a really successful career at Mercedes-Benz up until I started my business in 2009, I'd had a really good career. And since starting the business in 2009, I just had little jobs. I was doing collection delivery work, I was doing warehouse work, I was just doing lots and lots of temp work, admin work and everything else. So I didn't have a solid job really. I was like the last one in and the first one out. So I'd do a job for 3 months and I'd be looking for something else. I'd be out of work for 2 months and I'd be doing something else, and then I'd be doing something else for 3 months and 6 months. So I never had a solid foundation for the business to start on. And that really did start to eat away at my confidence. And it was almost really a case of like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And that really did weigh heavy on my confidence. And while the business was doing really well, as I've said before, once your confidence starts to get eroded away, and the business started to become a burden, really, for the want of a better term, because all my money was going into the business to try and make it work. So I also needed to continue to market and continue to need to go into wedding fairs, flyers, website update, and all the things that cost money to run a business. I needed to, keep putting into the business to make it work. And while kept being out of work and kept going, it was really hard to find a balance between finding a job and trying to sort of support the business, really. So behind the scenes, me personally, I wasn't in a really good state, and certainly my confidence was knocked. More so than that as well, also, I started to believe in myself too much. For anyone that knows me well and knows me really well, knows that I'm not one to sing my praises, and I'm not one to shout about my achievements. But I think in those early years, because I'd done so well so quickly, I started to believe my own hype, if you wanted to. I started to believe that I was, for the want of a better term, something that I'm not. That that everything that was put in front of me, every challenge that was put in front of me, I achieved and did really well. And of course that should give you confidence, but I think at the time confidence and arrogance are a very fine line. And at times I think I started to become a little bit too arrogant and started to believe in myself too much. And again, I was socialising with the wrong people as well. So a combination of all those things, not having a foundation for the business, being a little bit arrogant as well, and believing too much in my own ego, and socialising with the wrong people, I really did start to lose focus on the business, and I started to hate the one thing that I really shouldn't have done, and that was the work. So it got to late 2012, and my confidence was being eaten away and more so. And I'd lost another job at this point as well. And, I was out of work again and looking for work. And, this was countless many times that this would happen. And in my heart of hearts, I just knew that I didn't want to do the DJ work anymore. I just felt that it was too much to try and constantly plough all my money and time and effort into this and not have a job as well. As I said before, I come from a really successful career beforehand. I thought, surely it's much easier to go back to that than it is to keep trying to move this, what felt like pushing water up a hill, for the want of a better term, to keep trying to move this business along. And then I had a really stupid idea. I decided to throw a 3rd year anniversary party late 2012 to try and inject some sense of confidence in myself. And I did this thing where, I tried to push myself up, and I invited all the people that had booked me, friends, family, and all those sort of things. And, I spent far too much money that I couldn't have possibly afford on this. And it just felt like this false, just this whole thing felt very false. My heart wasn't in DJing anymore. My heart wasn't in playing music and having these people there. My friends and family, they all come up to me, and my heart wasn't in it. And literally, while DJing that evening, I just said, that's it. I've given up. I've had enough. And I remember going to my parents that weekend and speaking to them and saying, I'm just going to fulfill the bookings that I've got, and I'm not going to look for work anymore now. I'm just going to start looking for a career and then just, not do any more DJ work. And at that point, I can absolutely 100% say that I had lost interest in the business completely. And it got to Christmas that year, so only a couple of months later, and I didn't do any more wedding fairs in 2013. I just fulfilled the bookings that I wanted to do. And in May 2013, I found a really good job again, and that started to build my confidence again. I was around people that I liked and liked being around. I loved the job that I was doing, and my confidence grew as well. And like with anything really, once you still start to feel good about yourself and your confidence starts to build again, sort of the cloud starts to sort of dissipate really, and you start to sort of see the wood for the trees. You start to see things a little bit clearer. And I then started to look at the business in a different way, and I tried to sort of inject some life into the business. And while I looked at my figures, and I think I literally did half. I took in half the amount of work in 2013 that I did in 2012, and literally I lost loads of money because I just everything that I made went back in the business. So 2013 was a complete write-off. But I started to build my confidence up, and then in 2014, really late in 2014, I had this idea that I was going to just almost reinvent myself really. And I come up with designing 2 wedding packages, an elegant package for small weddings and the prestige package for bigger weddings. And I redesigned my whole website, my flyers and everything else. And it was almost for me really like a second coming. It took me a good 18 months really to really build my confidence up again, and to really want to start doing the work again and start building the business up and starting to have new bookings coming. So that was September 2014. And then I started to say, because I had this good job and I had the confidence in me, and I started to feel good about myself again, and that's really what I needed. But really, for 18 months, I was just literally doing the bookings because those people had already booked me beforehand, and I was just seeing out that work. I wasn't looking to get new work in. But as I say, September 2014, I started to change that, and then start going to wedding fairs again, and start being a little bit more proactive. And then as my confidence started to grow, by the end of 2015, I come up with the idea of getting a photo booth to add to each one of those 2 packages. And that worked really, really well. Fast forward on to 2016, which was June 2016, we had our first photo booth booking. So it took 6 months really to get the photo booth bookings in and starting to get. And that worked really well. So having the photo booth with the 2 packages worked really well. My confidence was soaring at this point, And life was really good. 2014, 2015, probably really in terms of a new life and a new injection to life. That was probably the huge bounce that I needed. Going into 2016 with a photo booth, as I say, things were going really, really well. And in 2017, I had another one of my wonderful stupid ideas. I got a little bit too confident again, and then I bought a photo booth really from America that wasn't really tried and trusted. And while I still believe the product is amazing, and I've done a video about it, and it is a fantastic product, at that time I should have bought another photo booth or a selfie mirror. I shouldn't have bought a product that was unknown to people. And I didn't realise at that time that people buy with how something looks as opposed to how something is and what something does. So 2017 was almost like another step back really, and the Selfie Premium didn't have the bounce that I hoped it would have done that the photo booth did back in 2016. So again, that was a bit of a step back. But my self-belief was up at this point, although my confidence was knocked by, not by the Selfie Premium not being as successful as I had hoped it would be. My self-belief was up, so I was okay. And 2018, we then bought a Selfie Mirror and we bought another photo booth. And again, that continued to do well, and bookings were doing really well at this point. I'd had, at this point, built up a really good team of people to help me with a photo booth, and everything was going fantastically well. Back end of 2018, we then purchased the dance floor, and then going into 2019, I redesigned everything again. So we had a new DJ package. So we just had the one simple package which we have today, 2020. We have the one simple DJ package. We have the dance floor, which you can accommodate whatever size you want, up to 16 by 16 foot. 2 photo booths, Selfie Premium, Selfie Mirror. So going into 2020 this year, I had everything I possibly wanted, and I'd done all the hard work with regards to getting it marketed. All the pricing was right. And now here we are in 2020, and COVID-19's kicked in, and things aren't as good as they are. But I do believe that, going back to what I said originally, having 2002 really just go so completely wrong, and now with the full hindsight of what I learned in 2012, I've understood this sometimes, and this is the lesson I learned, and this is something that I've now taken into each and every year. What happened and what went wrong in 2012 is that I stopped setting goals for myself. I just assumed naturally that everything was going to almost run itself really, and that because I was doing so well, I just had to keep going. But what I've learned since then is, without a goal and a focus in mind, so going back to 2014, my new goal was to have 2 packages and to reinvent the business. Back into 2015, what can we add to that? We can add a photo booth. Okay, that gives me something else, a new goal. Going into 2016, what else can we add? Okay, we've got a photo booth. How can we make that the best experience for people? 2017, although it wasn't brilliant, again, new product, new something to learn, new challenge, give myself something, a new focus, a new goal. 2018, okay, that didn't work, reset the goal. Let's get another photo booth, let's get a selfie mirror, brilliant, okay, new goal. What else can we do? Okay, new DJ package, fantastic, let's get that. Dance floor. So all I learned from 2012, an 18-month period where I was just in a state of flux, all I needed to do is have a goal in mind and set myself a goal and set myself a challenge. And that's what I do every single year now. December, January, I set myself a target of what I'm going to do the following year. And I make it really, really difficult for myself. So I've got something to push against. I get the best out of myself when I have something impossible to push against. That's how I work. I did a running challenge in 2017 and 2019 to run 600 miles in a year, and I did it. And it was incredibly hard work, but it has to be hard for me to want to start. I have to almost be like at the bottom of Mount Everest looking up. That's how I work. And as I say, back in 2012, I lost all goals and I lost all my challenges, and that's why my confidence dipped, because I didn't have anything to push against. So I hope you found that lesson informative. The next video will be about what lessons I've learned, and I'll go through in a little bit more detail about how I've learned and what I've learned throughout my 11-year period. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it informative. Take care, guys.